Hi, it's Blackbright, broadcasting out the UK. You're welcome to subscribe, share, whatever. Um, what I was wanted to talk to you about is going to Jamaica. Now, before you could just book a ticket and you're gone. Now, there's a big process or procedure to follow. When I say big, well, it all depends on how competent you are with a computer and how much information you have at hand and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go through, but the positive thing is that over 8,415, I think it is, applications have been accepted. There's, I think, 1,455 where they're still waiting for responses to quarantine questions. But I'm not quite sure where that aspect of it is because I tested it for you. I decided to go on the website and test it for you, and I'm going to read out what I got so I'm not just relying on my memory. But I tested it for you, and when I went on, there was something for resident and returning resident and one for non-returning resident. So of course, from the first one I tried, let me click on the non-returning resident. When I clicked on the non-returning resident, it kind of popped up, put your email in, and click submit. So I did that, and it says, oh, you have a one-time number. Go and get that from your email and then put it into this little box, and then you see this countdown. You see these numbers counting down. Fortunately, they give you quite a lot of time. So then I didn't expect that, of course. So I ran downstairs and got my phone, pulled up the email, and I got the number, run upstairs, put the number in. Anyway, I'm going to tell you the stuff that you're going to need beforehand so you don't get into a panic like what, well, I wasn't really panicking, but you're more prepared for what to expect when you go to apply if you are thinking about going to Jamaica, whether it is as a non-resident or a resident. So the returning resident is a much larger process. It's quite a long document, wants a lot of information. So with that background, I just want to let you know that do not book your ticket up yet. Don't pay for no ticket to go to Jamaica because it goes through an approval process. And I don't know how long that approval process takes. It didn't say it takes 4 weeks or 6 weeks. It didn't have that. But it does go through an approval process after it's been confirmed being received. And then you get your travel authorization. And only once you've got your travel authorization and completed the quarantine questions will you be allowed to fly and get into Jamaica. From the travel authorization, once you get the approval, it does say, oh, you're now approved to travel. But you're approved to travel. It doesn't mean you're going to get to travel if there are some quarantine issues or if, you turn up at the airport and you're sniffling or whatever. So just bear that in mind if you're thinking about going to Jamaica over the next few months, weeks or months. Okay, so I'm just going to go through this for you. So the following process may be daunting, but a total of 8,418 approvals have been granted to Jamaicans overseas who have applied on Jam COVID Online Ministry Health System for permission to return home under the Controlled Re-Entry Programme. You will need to apply online and complete the re-entry form, which is about 4 pages, but it'll only be 4 pages if you print it out off. When you're on it, it doesn't look as though it's 4 pages. And then after you've been through the approval, like I said, then you can book your flight. So no booking, no ticket. Nobody said, boy, I go to Jamaica for Christmas, I go to Jamaica for my birthday. My birthday is next month. And I'm going to Jamaica. You can't do that anymore. And that's why it's important to have this information and know that you need to do this first and foremost. Okay? So before you go online, make sure you have the following with you, as some of the elements are timed. Like I said, when I went to get the email, the clock was going down. The security code. So by the time you get your phone and check your email, I've already said that. So before you start, these are the things that you're going to need. Have your phone close by. have your email address up so you can access it immediately. You'll be able to see, or sometimes it comes in a message, but it does come in the email actually. Make sure your email is up. Make sure it's your email so you've got access to that email, because some people, they don't have email addresses or they don't even know how to access them. So they put an email address in if they know their email address, and then they don't know how to pull it up. So make sure it's an email address that you have access to straight away before you go on to do the form. Okay, so you've got your phone, you've got your email address. Once you put the email address, within seconds, the one-time code pops up. You take that off, and you need your passport with you, and you need to take a photograph of it. So some people, they write down the details of their passport. You need the physical passport because that passport is the biometric data. And so they're going to need, I think it said the front of the passport, but it might need the photograph page. I'm not sure. But as long as you've got your passport with you, you should be okay, because you could just give it what it needs. I couldn't do that part of it because, of course, I'm not a returning resident, so I couldn't answer the questions. Have the full name, email address, and phone number and full street address of the place you're staying. So you can't say, boy, I'm going to stay at Rosa Bravo Hotel. It there top road. I don't know the name of the road. I know sit there by the bar. Blah blah blah. You can't do that. You need full addresses, telephone numbers. So if you know where you're staying, make sure you have the full address, telephone number. If you're staying with somebody, you need their full name, their telephone number, their full address, their home number, and their email address. So you're going to need that information. No point getting online and then saying, boy, I never got call so-and-so, because we don't know where them live. We don't know if they move from where we think them did there. Because sometimes people are talking about their visiting people. They haven't been in touch with them for months, maybe years. And they say, boy, how long when I got to see so-and-so. And they think that person's still there. And even if they are still there, they don't know the name of the road. They don't know nothing. They just know, say, it's by a church or by a hill or by an oil company or I don't know. You know what I mean, though. So, specifics. You need the full name, email address, and phone number, and full street of your contact person in Jamaica. They're assuming, unless you're going on some kind of tourist thing, and you're going to one of these all-inclusive, that you're going to stay with somebody or you have family in Jamaica, they need that information. As far as I know, it's just one person that they need as an emergency contact. This is for returning. You're going to need your TRN and NIS number. I did the non-resident one first, and that just asked me for my email address and to click, and when I clicked I got the one-time code. But I went back and I did another one for returning resident because I wanted to share with you what to expect, and this is what you're going to need for the returning resident application, not if you're just visiting for a holiday for 2 or 3 weeks. If you're just visiting for a holiday for 2 or 3 weeks, it asks you to put in your email address and the estimated date of travel or the date of your travel. And then it disappears. And what comes back is you'll get a travel authorization nearer the time. So I don't know if that presupposes that you're not going to have to fill up all of this stuff and it's a much more easier process. I'm not sure, but I'm sure that quarantine thing is going to turn up somewhere, and it might turn up with the travel authorization. It might be a part of that document. So just bear that in mind, that once you get the travel authorization, it's not guaranteed that you're going to be able to travel. If you've got symptoms, if you've had symptoms, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you need your TRN number, your NIS details, your parents' full name and contact details. Now, I don't know if that means your parents, whether or not they're live or deceased. I'm not quite sure what the relevance of that is, but that is what is being asked for on the form. Your employer's full name and contact details. Like I said, I'm not quite sure if that's your employer in the country you're coming from, or whether they are expecting you to have be employed once you reach Jamaica, or whether this is for people who were in Jamaica and they just visited somewhere else for a few weeks and they ended up staying because of the COVID-19, and so they were working in Jamaica and now they're coming back. So I don't know what that employer details is, and it's not very clear. Like I said, I'm not quite clear. So whatever your employer's is, whether it's in this country or whether it's in Jamaica, just put it down, whichever country you're in. The last date you travelled to Jamaica, well, that'd be in your passport, so you don't need to worry too tough about that. Details of your return ticket, and that's only if you couldn't get back because of the COVID-19 and the airports, the borders were closed. They want the address where you're currently living in whichever country that is. They want the dates and names of places you have been to over the last 6 weeks. And you need all of that information even before you go online. So I'm hoping that by sharing that with you, you have it there. So you're not faffing around and calling people and say, well, you know, I don't know where so-and-so is, find out where she lives now, and all that kind of crap at the last minute. Make sure you have all of that information before you go online, so it's a much smoother process. And if you've got somebody helping you with the form, it does ask you if you're completing the form on behalf of someone else. If that is the case, you need to be cross-referencing and cross-checking and making sure that the information that is being put on the form, that is what you agree to and what you've approved to be put on the form. So even if you can't read it, you ask that person, look, what have you put for this? What have you put for that? Ask them to read all the answers on the form, so that when it comes to the point when you have to, there's an attestation at the end, a voice note that tells you that you understood, you agree, and everything on that form. You can't say, boy, somebody else fill it up for me. Me never know what she write or what he wrote or blah, blah, blah. It's not me fill it up. You can't put that. On that attestation, you have to agree that you've understood everything on the form, that it's accurate and it's a true reflection of everything, all the documents, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So just make sure that as you're going through the form, if you're not doing it yourself and you've got somebody doing it for you, that you understand what has been put on the form. Because when shit hits the fan, you know, you can't plead ignorance and you can't say, boy, I never know. You can't do that. Okay, so now we've got all of that out of the way. Now you're going online. So you go online under jamcovid19.moh.gov.jm. It's the Ministry of Health website. When you put Jam COVID-19, the website comes up anyway, you know, in the list of things that you can click on. So it's not hard, even if you just put Jam COV, and you know it'll come up. So it's not a hard website to find. It's quite user friendly. You will be asked to state whether or not you're a resident or a non-resident, where you'll stay, mobile number in Jamaica, mobile number overseas, passport number, country of issue on the passport, picture of your passport. It will ask you if you are a resident, and it will ask you for your TRN number. It will also ask you for the name of your next of kin and emergency numbers in Jamaica. And you'll need to give their full names and addresses, email addresses, phone number. And yeah, like I said, the information needs to be specific. Even if you're staying at a hotel, it's not, they are top wood. That's not good enough. You need to have full information. Your parents' details, address and contact number. I put if they're living, but I'm not quite sure if they're cross-referencing. And this is a re-entry program and they want to make sure you are who you say you are. It could be that they want your parents' details, whether or not they're alive. Okay? So employer's name, employer's contact number, last date of departure from Jamaica, the reason you left Jamaica, your intended date of travel to Jamaica, countries you've travelled within the last 6 weeks, including transit travel, and any information critical to your application. That could be, you're attending a funeral maybe. I'm not quite sure what they call critical, but I would assume it's something that is important to your application or to it being approved. So you'll need to state where you're currently located. If you are a non-resident, you will be directed to a page that just asks you to put your email address, which I said before, and the date of departure. When you put in your email address, it will ask you to get the one-time code from your email address, and there is a time limit, which I said before, to retrieve your email and get the code and insert it on the form. You will then be asked if you are completing the form on behalf of someone other than yourself. You put in the name of the person who is travelling. I've already said all of that, and I've told you I've tested it. If you're a returning resident, you will get a controlled re-entry form to complete. And I've already said it will ask you your full name, blah, blah, blah. Gender, residential address, area where you... residential address, where's that? Oh, that's it. Yeah, so what the Prime Minister was saying is that, yes, he's quite pleased with the amount of approvals, but unless you complete the quarantine questionnaire, you're not going to be able to travel. And he further added that anyone entering the island must observe faithfully and consistently all the measures in place. This will help our members to remain below the threshold for tightening up. There's also something else that I had that the Prime Minister was saying. Now, where did that go then? Okay, yeah, this is what he was saying. He said there's 1,355 applicants for which the health and immigration authorities are awaiting responses for their home quarantine assessment questions. I've got a funny feeling that's on the travel authorization. Once you complete that whole form, you email it off, you get a confirmation. That confirmation doesn't mean it's been approved. You'll wait, I don't know how long. I don't know if it's a couple of weeks. I don't know if it's a month. I don't know if it's 6 weeks. I don't know how long you have to wait. So you need to put time aside. So don't bother kind of plan with anyone until you've got that travel authorization back. Once you get the travel authorization, it'll come in an email and it will say you're approved to travel. And then you click on a link and your travel authorization will come up with a big barcode. You can either print that off because you need to take it to the airlines. You need to, basically you need to have it with your passport. And you won't be able to travel without it. And so that is that. So I've got a funny feeling that those quarantine questions might be on the travel authorization form, but don't quote me, I'm not sure. I couldn't get that far to test it. What the Prime Minister has said is that we have sent out multiple emails reminding and asking for this information and making a special appeal to those persons who provide it as soon as possible. We are not able to process your application without this information, the Prime Minister said. In the meantime, Mr. Holness is urging Jamaican nationals and non-nationals who are returning to respond truthfully to the questions that are asked of them on the Jam COVID website and to refrain from travelling if they're sick. The positive rate of incoming persons is one of the most important factors which is taken into consideration in our risk-based management approach to COVID-19, the Prime Minister noted. He further added that anyone entering the island must observe faithfully and consistently all the measures in place. I said that before. So, submitting the application, you enter just a summary. You enter your email address, a one-time password will be sent to authenticate your account. You fill in the personal health and intended to stay in Jamaica information. Provide consent and declaration. complete the immigration and customs form, submit your application. Now, like I said, because I couldn't actually complete it, I didn't know about all of this bit. So this is where that quarantine stuff will come in, the customs and all of that kind of information will come in when you actually complete it. The health risk assessment. So this is your application will be instantly reviewed and COVID-19 health risk assessment conducted. And that's based on the information I guess you submit. You will receive a same-day communication. If successful, you will receive an email with your travel authorization. If your health risk assessment level is above the threshold, you will receive an email recommending you do not travel to Jamaica at this time. So I guess if there are some COVID fears, like supposing when they ask where you've travelled for the last 6 weeks, you've been travelling in America, or where there's a high COVID risk, you might not be able to get. They might suggest that you don't travel at this time. I think England and America are two of the high risk travel places, that they're going to be skeptical about. And then what you need to do is save an electronic or printed copy of your travel authorization, as you will need to show an airline agent at check-in or when boarding. So I hope you found that useful. So basically, just don't buy your ticket yet. Wait till you get your travel authorization form. Make sure you complete the health and assessment questionnaire. Make sure you've got approval, you've got your quarantine. I'm assuming that quarantine pass might be done before they give you the travel authorization. Fingers crossed. But like I said, I couldn't actually process it all the way through, so I can't help you with that. And that's all for now. Bye-bye.